I'm ready to go, says the men in all black.
It'd be fun. Let's talk a little Guardians, guys. They swept the White Sox. Before we do that, a quick reminder that the NBA playoffs tip off next week, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action right now. When you join FanDuel and place a $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. You can bet on three-pointers, steals, assists. FanDuel has so many different ways for you to bet on your favorite player props. Don't miss out. Head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. Jay, why'd you slap G?
Love it. I told him I was going to land my Gatorade bottle on that chair.
And it almost
and I threw it, and it was on the chair, and it was stopping, and then it rolled off.
From my peripheral vision as I was reading this, all I see was you smack G. I didn't see anything other. I was like, what did I miss? But the Guardians swept the White Sox, a much-needed sweep for Cleveland. Gavin Williams pitched his best game of the season yesterday. I'll let the floor and let you guys take it away wherever you want to start, but it's a sweep, and Gavin Williams looked good. So two big takeaways as we head into a weekend series here.
They swept a 4A team. And I might be I think I'm being nice if I say 4A. Like
3 1/4.
I'm not sure they would win the International League. It's really rough watching this team. Man, I would think about picking a new team if I was a White Sox fan. Because I love to watch baseball, but I hate to watch bad baseball. And if I had to watch this every day, I would pull my hair out. I couldn't do it. So, but teams are going to lose games to the White Sox this year.
Yep.
Last year, the White Sox were 5-8 against us. And I think that was the best record they had against any of the American League Central teams. They almost cost the Guardians the American League Central title. And so, yes, you have to win them, but I can't do victory laps, particularly when they won Game 1, 1-0 on a walk-off after Mike Clevenger walked 3 straight guys. By the way, it looks like he ate Trevor Bauer.
That's crazy.
He's put on some LBs.
I didn't recognize him.
He used to be, just a little heavier than Tristan McKenzie.
I think some of the nightlife might have something
caught up to him. They win Game 2 because their runner gets sniped coming home and had to pull up lame. And I wish he wouldn't have, because I think Kwan had him with the throw. I think Kwan's throw still would have got him at home.
It was offline a little bit, though.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was off the plate
up
a
a
little
step.
bit. Yeah.
But still, he was in position where he could have put the tag down. So you talk about, wow, that's pretty bad way to lose 2 games. Then yesterday, they just got thumped. But they won all 3, and they're back to 500, and they needed him desperately.
The look on, I mentioned this the other day, the look on Hedges and Classé's face when they won that game was like, we got away with one there.
Especially Classé.
Yeah, we got away with one there.
I think he's deleted the pictures of his awards that he sent out on Instagram.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things that concern me about this team. I think we'll talk about it later. Their defense has been horrendous so far. That's troubling. This is the team typically built on pitching and defense, and the defense just hasn't been there. What's that?
I think we have an error a game.
Just under.
11 errors, 12 games. We're going to talk about that in a later segment.
And watching Brayan Rocchio run the bases is like watching Will Ferrell and streaking naked through the quad. I have no idea what Rocchio's doing on the base.
That playoff Rocchio ain't really showing
up. No,
I
do. I'm still buying stock on Rocchio as a breakout guy this year. I still think
he's got to get this together, though.
But
Jay.
him on the bases, he's had 2 that I know that I can recall off the top of my head this year. 2 already, where it's like, where are you going? What are you doing?
Sometimes a manager, when he's trying to empower his players, and he says, guys, we're going to be aggressive on the bases. Some guys hear that differently. Some guys hear that, well, when I've got a favorable count, and I've got a pitcher that Sandy's telling me has a slow delivery to the plate, and I feel like I'm going against an inferior catcher and not one of the top arms, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Other guys, when they hear that same message, guys, we're going to be aggressive on the base paths, they think that when a pitcher comes set and he's on second,
I'm out of here.
Once he starts moving his neck from looking at you, you can go. There's different levels to aggressive on the base paths. Yeah. Rocchio needs to come back about 3 notches, and then in the field, he makes great plays, and then he's boneheading simple ground balls or things that would start a double play turn or whatever. And I think that's a lack of concentration.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they're saying about him internally, but when you put Arias at short, that I don't know if that was that to get his attention?
I don't know what that was. I said when they start switching, is this like?
I mean, as for right now, I would just count it as an off day. Arias can play anywhere, but we'll see
but
going
to me,
forward.
I think there might have been a little bit of message
Meaning
to that
behind it,
too.
possibly.
Yeah, like shortstops is a place you just don't really.
Oh,
just
when
be
you
like,
get it, you don't want to give it up.
Nah.
I mean, they haven't been able to pick between these guys in years, and it looks like they have made the decision that it's Rocchio.
I believe so.
But I mean, for years they've had all of these top middle infield prospects, and they haven't been able to figure out any of them, or none of them have taken hold of the job and run with it.
This is really our only Guardians talk in the YouTube show, right? We're doing more Guardians at 12:30 on WKYC.
Yes. So we go into whatever you want.
All right. I'll save my big point for the WKYC show. We always say it. The thing that you can least rely on year to year is bullpen dominance.
Yeah.
We're seeing it. We're starting to see now. Again, it was the White Sox, so you should own this lineup. Classé can't figure it out against a bad hitting team. Some other guys, it seems, might be getting a little healthy off of the White Sox lineup. We saw the bullpen pitched great in Game 1. They really pitched great for the whole series. Cade Smith started to look like the old
settling
Cade
down.
Smith.
Yeah.
He's coming around. The thing that scares me is typically this time of year, pitching is way ahead of hitting.
Yeah.
So when I see pitchers that struggle, that's a blinking red light and flags everywhere to me.
Especially when it's cold. Like people aren't hitting the ball hard everywhere. Like you're supposed to be getting people out. Like especially in April. Like that's
the teams that have played. Now I don't know what I need more info on this study. Somebody and Tom Hamilton was talking about this. I think in the 6th inning of yesterday's game. I don't know where he read it. I don't know what his source was, but he was talking about games that have been played in cold weather. Well, what's cold weather? 30, 40, 50? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yesterday it was 48, but the humidity, it was so much moisture in the air. It felt like it was 20 over there.
Yeah.
It was so cold. But in his conversation, I think it was in the 6th inning, about how teams are hitting 150 points below in these cold weather games. Again, what delineates cold weather, I don't know. But I've always known that cold weather, it's tough to hit. Guys start slowly because of it. The teams that are playing in LA and San Diego and some warmer climates always tend to do better in the early months. A pleasant surprise to me has been Kwan and Ramirez at the top of the lineup are performing marvelously. I don't want to give away too much, but we're getting exactly what I expected we were going to get out of Jose Ramirez in the 2-hole. I don't like it. I didn't like it on opening day. I like it even less now. Those numbers are alarming because you can't have 4 home runs and 6 RBI. You can't do it.
Yeah, but there's a lot of guys that have the numbers that look like that early in the year.
Not the best hitter in your lineup because typically he's hitting 3 and 4, and there's guys on base in front of him. I mean, he's hitting solo home runs.
Yeah.
If he hits solo home runs all year, we're not winning the Central.
I don't know. I think it's too early. It's too early to make that declaration.
What'd you make of Gavin Williams' start yesterday? I know it's the White Sox lineup, and Jason, you accurately said earlier that they have 2 hitters.
Luis Robert,
if they're being generous.
Luis Robert is a bona fide major league hitter, and Andrew Vaughn is kind of a major league hitter. Yeah, kind of.
But I thought Gavin Williams still looked pretty good yesterday. Stuff was back, or looked to be more back than it has been.
I didn't check his velo. I assume it was where it's supposed to be.
It was cranking all day, 97.
Yeah. I think he's going to be fine this year.
His first inning scared me. You know, he didn't win a game at home last year.
That's wild.
He was 0-7 at Progressive last year.
That is weird.
I didn't know that until the pregame show. His first inning, he was over 20 pitches. He spiked a couple. Their run was basically because he spiked, I think, a slider that allowed the runner. A guy got a bloop base hit, a nothing base hit. It should have been caught. On a normal day, it would have been caught. It wasn't an error. I mean, it was a hit, but most days it's caught. He spikes a slider, allows the runner to go to second. And anyhow, the guy ends up scoring on a passed ball. So it's not like he got hit all over the place. And then he retired 10 in a row. He got the last out of the first, and then he went second, third, fourth, perfect innings. And I thought if it wasn't for the first inning, he probably could have gone 6 or 7. But it's the best he's looked.
Yep.
And we need that. The guys that I'm worried most about, Tristan McKenzie looks like a shell of himself.
Yep.
Emmanuel Classé is dinged emotionally. To me, there has absolute been carryover from the Tigers, Yankees to this year.
Jay, can I ask you a question on Classé? Because you weren't here Wednesday when Bull brought this up. He said he thinks Classé is throwing too many strikes, and that because he's throwing too many strikes, guys are jumping on early pitches that aren't bad pitches, but because they're so terrified to get into a two-strike situation against him, they're being more aggressive. That's leading to some success. Is there potentially some validity to that?
No, there is validity to that. And here's the problem with that. Sometimes you're a victim of your own success. When you throw 20 pitches and 17 of them are strikes, what is the hitting coach telling you in the pregame?
Hey, get up there, take cuts immediately.
Don't look. Don't look.
First pitch.
This is a guy that historically likes to get up in the count, and he's going to be around the plate. So it's a real delicate dance. The book is out on Classé. Not that there hadn't been enough work from Classé for teams to figure this out, but when a pitcher struggles, smart teams pull all of that tape and study it. Okay, what's the common denominator? Well, the common denominator around the Tigers and the Yankees' successes against him was he was all in the zone. And when you're all in the zone, hitters are they're gonna take chances. And 97 or 100 today isn't what it used to be. And it's not what it used to be is because there's a lot more guys that throw it.
You see it more often.
And as a result, you see it more often.
Yeah.
Your son is big in the baseball world.
Yeah.
The biggest jump that he's going to have in skill set is when he finally starts throwing real hard throwers. And he'll probably get that in high school when he's seeing consistent 85, maybe even high 80s. Mm-hmm. The jump that occurs is when you first see it, you're thinking to yourself, I'll never be able to hit that. I'll never be able to hit that. And then all of a sudden, a light goes off and you're like, okay, I've got it. I've made the adjustments. The league has made the adjustment to the hard throwers, which means you got to have 2 or 3 pitches, and you've also got to work the edges. And right now, I don't think he's working the edges.
See, that's the thing. He's a 3-time All-Star. The book has been out on Classé for years.
It is.
He's missing his spots. He's leaving things out over the plate. He's always thrown strikes. It's part of the reason he can go 2 and 3 days in a row. He doesn't strike out a ton of guys because he's economical in his pitches, and he works the edges. And hitting a 100-mile-an-hour cutter on the edge, you might hit it, but you're not going to barrel it more times than not. You're going to ground out.
When you throw it in the nitro zone,
and
look out.
That's like he's throwing more sliders this year, fewer cutters. And he's missing his spots more often.
Yeah.
That's what I saw in the Tigers and the Yankees, and that's what I'm seeing this year. When you leave it out over the plate, it's gonna get hit. So it's
these guys are good hitters, man.
Yeah, it's not necessarily he's throwing too many strikes. I just think he's missing his spots.
Well,
he's missing his locations.
The reason I say I think he's throwing too many strikes is part of that book that the Tigers and I think the Yankees figured out was that if you're up there and the bat is on your shoulder against him, you're at a huge disadvantage. You'd rather take a shot.
Yeah,
and you can't do that with a guy that throws a lower percentage of strikes because you might be giving him a free strike. With Classé, they know if we swing, he's earned that strike.
But teams, I think, have been aggressive on him throughout his career. That's why he gets through an inning in 15 pitches, and he can come back the next day and then the third day in a row because he's always been economical with his pitches because he's always around the plate. But there's a big difference in middle, and on the black with what he throws.
Just stay out of the nitro zone because bad hitters will hit that ball out of the fence over the fence.
And sometimes when somebody's throwing that fast, guys are just trying to put the ball in play a little bit. From what I've seen going back to last year, they're not just putting it in play; they're looking to drive the ball deep. Like and they're up there taking cuts. Like no, we have an advantage. We know you're going to throw the ball. And by the way, if you're a closer, I don't need to go deep in the count. We know that you're in for how many outs? 3 outs.
Yeah.
I don't need the rest of my team to see any pitches. I'm jumping on the first pitch that I like, and I'm going to try to drive it somewhere.
Yeah, I just think he could benefit from, obviously, stay out of the nitro zone. Just don't go there. But I want to see him work the edges more, and if that means that he starts a cutter over the plate and it ends up out of the zone, that's perfect. Because at that speed, it's almost impossible to differentiate that from a fastball. Guys are going to jump at that, and if it's over the plate when their bat is over the plate, there's a good chance they're going to put it in play. If it's off the plate, they're going to swing and miss.
Yeah.
And you're right, Jay. He has typically been economical with his pitches. He's not a guy that comes up there, good morning, good afternoon, good night, and blows away the side. But with the pitches that he has, he can get guys to swing and miss. He can.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him do more of that. I'm really worried about him, Jay.
Yeah.
I'm worried about this.
Yeah. Yes, it's April. Yes, it's early April. Yes, there's time. But when you combine the end of last year with the start of this year, I think it's fair to have concerns about where he's at. And again, I don't think it's like there's a reason they were shopping him 2 years ago. They got him on a long-term deal, and they tried shopping him, and they had a real high price tag on him, and nobody came up and met it. So then he came back, and he had an unbelievable year last year. And I don't know if they shopped him again coming off that year last year or not. I don't know.
What's his ERA right now?
I believe it's 6. I'll double check.
Oh, my God.
I mean,
I know.
With relievers, one bad outing, and you've got a horrible ERA for a month and a half.
But he's had more than one bad outing.
Yeah, he's a 6 ERA.
I'm waiting for his good outing.
Yeah.
Now, the other day, I think it was game
He is 2-0 this year.
He pitched.
That's not good for a closer.
Yeah, no, you don't want to be 2-0. That means you're blowing the save.
I'm just
if you
saying.
get a win, if you get a win or a loss, that's a save blown.
Well, it depends when they break.
His job is not to win games. His job is to close games.
I don't know if they brought him in tie games. I don't remember all of his appearances now.
He's blown one save. He has one save, one blown save.
I think they did bring him in a tie, and they ended up getting the win.
It was the 1-0 win against Chicago on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And he did pitch well in that. But again, it's the White Sox. You know what? Take the White Sox, everything we saw in that series, and put it away, and let's see how they do against the Royals. These are the Royals, the Tigers, and the Twins. That's going to decide the division.
Yeah.
The White Sox will not. So go win
facts.
some games against those teams.